I know some people who really enjoy doing hill repeats, but I think there's really something wrong with them. And the last two, I mean, the reason that we do hill repeats or any kind of interval is we kind of add time or add numbers of repeats, because the more we do, the last couple are the ones where we get all the training effect from, but they really, really hurt. So those may be something to include in the situations where you really have difficulty, you really start to hurt. For you triathletes, I often hear that from triathletes how difficult it is to start the run after transitioning from doing the swim and the bike, because you've used your muscles in a different way, and you're already tired, and it feels like you're going to use a whole other set of muscles, and just the first few hundred yards of the run tend to be really difficult. If you're a marathoner and you've ever done the Richmond Marathon, or perhaps you're doing a training team for the Richmond Marathon right now, you will hear a lot about crossing Lee Bridge. If it's a windy day, crossing Lee Bridge can really be a pretty special experience. And these are the kind of specific examples of situations where you would be in significant pain or expect to feel significant fatigue that you should include on the left-hand column of this thought stopping and replacement worksheet. All right, some pointers for step 2, listing your negative thoughts. One way to do this is just to recall them through imagery. That is, just sit back, relax, and take yourself through some of your training runs or training rides or races, and think about what it was that you said to yourself at times when you were hurting the most. As I said earlier, you will become more aware of what you say to yourself the more you focus on it, and particularly during hard training efforts. If you can tune in and just ask yourself, what's going through my head right now, you'll be surprised how quickly you will be able to articulate more and more of what's going on in your mind. And you may be surprised at how much you're really saying to yourself, and how that might affect your performance. I know that a lot of people think that keeping a journal or keeping any kind of log of their training is really difficult, and a lot of people really hate it. But keeping a list or keeping a journal of what you say to yourself during different points of training or different times in running or riding a course can be really helpful. I've even told people at times to take out a small digital tape recorder, obviously not during a race, but during training. And if you don't mind looking a little odd to people, you can actually talk into the recorder as you're doing it, and there's really no better way of getting as detailed a record as possible of what it is you're saying to yourself and talking out loud when you're doing it. And again, the more that you pay attention to what you say to yourself, the more you are going to add to those experiences and adjust that list based on those experiences. So now, let's think about some examples of negative self-talk that you may have. Things like, oh God, this hurts, I hate this. This is too hard, I can't do this anymore. I'll never make my goal now. I suck at this. I should just quit. All those are examples of some negative things that you could say to yourself, the things that you would list in the middle portion, middle column of your thought stopping and replacement worksheet. What's going on in your head that would interfere with you doing your best when you're in pain, when you feel fatigued? And now the third step is coming up with realistic and positive alternatives for this. What can you say to yourself at these moments that will help your performance instead of the negative things which will harm your performance? First of all, you should list realistic and positive thoughts. Those are the keys here. You don't want to go overboard and tell yourself you're the best runner or cyclist in the universe and you're going to finish first in this race even though you've been dropped. That's just not real. That's not positive. I've had some people recall working with a runner who said that they would say to themselves, I love hills, although they really hated hills. You know, and I suppose in a way that does improve their performance because it distracts themselves from thinking how much they hate hills, but it's also that they're also kind of lying to themselves. So my bias is to think that it's more helpful to be realistic about, yes, this is hard, but I can do it, being realistic and positive. So acknowledge that there's difficulty here. Acknowledge that you're hurting. Acknowledge it's tough, but keep optimistic. Keep thinking that I can do it. I can get through this. Think about what a supportive coach would say to you at these times. If you've ever worked with a coach that you really felt got the most out of you, a person that you would just really turn yourself inside out for, what would that coach say to you at times when you were really hurting and really in pain? What would they say? You can also think about what a good teammate would say to you. You'd be surprised how negative a lot of endurance athletes are when they really think about what they're saying to themselves at moments when they're experiencing endurance pain and fatigue. And what I often say to people is, suppose that it was not you, it was your teammate who was experiencing this difficulty, who was really struggling, really hurting, and your job was to try to help them get the best performance out of themselves that they possibly could at this time. Would you go up to them at this moment and say, hey, dude, you suck? Probably not. And yet, so many athletes talk to themselves in this negative way when they're hurting, and it only serves to diminish their performance. So think about what a good teammate would say and use that as an example of some positive and realistic thoughts. So let me just give you some of those positive, realistic thoughts that you could put as alternative to the negative thoughts. One, the negative thought being, oh God, this hurts, I hate this. Well, how about changing it to, this is making me stronger? And that is true, isn't it? If you're experiencing exertion pain, well, that's how we get a training effect. Physiologically, that's what makes the difference between just staying where you are now and getting a training adaptation so you can go faster and be stronger. It's when you're hurting. It's when you're experiencing that exertion pain and you're fighting through it. So yeah, you're hurting, but it's making me stronger. Okay, this is too hard. I can't do this anymore. How about something like, this is tough, but I can do it? Being optimistic, but acknowledging that it's difficult. Instead of thinking something like, I'll never make my goal now, think about, just stay focused on what I need to do. So what it is you need to do to get your best performance. Do you need to think about spinning and pedaling in circles? Do you need to think about keeping your shoulders loose? Do you need to think about maintaining your pace? What is it you need to focus on right now? Instead of telling yourself how badly you suck at this, maybe you should say to yourself, this is it. It's time to, as I like to say, cowboy up. That's an expression from one of the Red Sox a few years ago, and I'm from Massachusetts, so anytime I get to quote anything that the Red Sox say, I try to do that. Rather than to say, I should just quit, how about something like, this will put them in the hurt locker? And I just want to point out a couple of things here on these more positive quotes. The first one, this is making me stronger. And the last quote here, this will put them in the hurt locker, them being your competitors. Those are particular examples of reinterpreting the experience of pain. It's not saying to yourself that you don't feel the pain, but rather than to say, I'm feeling the pain and this means that I'm breaking down, I'm getting weak, I can't do this, you're taking that experience of that pain and you're reinterpreting it, saying it's making me stronger, or if I'm hurting, it's really damaging my competitors. And just to show you that we keep you up to date as possible in this webinar with the latest quotes and the latest information, this is a quote that Bradley Wiggins just said yesterday on Versus after he finished 5th on a mountaintop finish in the Tour de France. If it's hurting you, God knows what it's doing to the others. Okay, that's Bradley Wiggins on stage 15 yesterday when he got into a break. Okay, some final thoughts about using self-talk for pain management, for dealing with exertion pain and fatigue. See pain as your ally. Again, interpretation of your pain is key. What does it mean? The more you can see it as an ally, something that tells you that you're training hard, something that tells you that you're putting all your effort into your performance, the more that you can see it as an indication that you're performing at your peak. This is you're really putting yourself out there. The more positive your experience of that pain is, and you're going to go faster and stronger and put more effort into it. As I said earlier, you can use self-talk for several different purposes. There's instructional self-talk. Here's what I need to do now. Shoulders loose, pedal in circles, keep your pace up. There's motivational self-talk. Keep going. You can do this. Drop the hammer. And there's also self-talk that will help distract you, but again, not distract you like the guy in the Y reading the magazine or looking at the cloud that looks like a fluffy little lamb, but distracting in a way that keeps your rhythm, keeping your pace, stuff like mantras, 2 more miles, 2 more miles, 2 more miles.